Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the third and final video wherein we're going to be finishing up this website. So in the last video, we built till this client section, this top portion. So in today's video, we'll be finishing up everything else and we'd also add some animations just to make the website look sleek. Now, before getting started, if you haven't watched the previous two videos, make sure to watch those, or else you wouldn't really understand how we made some utility classes and how we're using those. And please make sure to watch those videos and then come back and watch this. And the source code of the entire project is updated and is in the description. So if you guys want to download that. You'll find the link in the description. So download and have fun. And if you are new to the channel and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. And I'm hoping that this would be really helpful to you if you want to learn web development. And also share the channel with your friends and family along with this video playlist so that if they are curious, they can benefit from this playlist as well. Now, this is the finished one, wherein if I load, you'd see that the heading kind of fades in. And then these on scroll, you see the animation, they kind of fade in up. And then this heading along with these cards, these awards, along with this swiper slider that we're going to be building in today's video, we have these page indications or paginations. And then you have these feature cards. On hover, they kind of elevate, at least due to this box shadow. And then you have this reports slider, which is automatic, which you can also navigate using your mouse cursor. And then you have this footer. We have these content in the footer as well, and this copyright bar at the bottom. And this is fully responsive. So if I were to open up DevTools and if I were to show you, so this is how it looks in the mobile device. You can just scroll up. Scroll down, you can see all these stuff. So they are fully responsive. So yeah, you'll be learning a lot in this video, and make sure you share the video with your friends and family and have fun. So with that being said, let's get started. I don't want to drag the intro too long because the video is already longer than the other two. So yeah, with that being said, let's get started and let's build this. Now let's open up our finished website, which is this. Now here, this is for the reference. We're going to be seeing what we have done from here, and then we'll be adding it into our working site, or the one that we are currently working on. So now we're going to be starting off with this swiper section, wherein we have this slider along with these paginations. So to get that, we need to add swiper.js. So you can type here swiper.js, and you can go to their website, go to docs, getting started, and let's wait. It's taking some time. Okay. Now here, since we're using normal vanilla JavaScript, we need to add the script and this link. So here I'm gonna come to our index.html file, and I'll just add here. First I'll add the script, and then I'll add the CSS for the swiper.js. Now, since we need one single slider or one slide per view, so you can come here in the resource, you can click here on the demos, and here you would get the basic boilerplate of the type of slider that you need. Now in this case, we need something of this sort. Okay, so you can come here and you can click onto this core, and this is gonna open up in Code Sandbox. And from here you can copy the code and you can paste it. Now for the CSS, you don't need to worry about the CSS. You just copy the HTML and including the script. So you can just copy and paste it. So what I'm going to do is I'll just walk you through. So first you need a row basically to hold the swiper, and we're going to call it swiper, and then we're going to add a custom class name of clients swiper. Since we'd have two swiper, so one would be for this one and then one would be for this reports. Now if you see the finished one, or if you see the design, you'd see that we have some icons here. So let's open up SaaS UI. Probably this was the one. Yes. So yeah. So here if you see, you notice that for this reports, we have two indicators wherein on clicking on the left, it moves to the next slide, and then this one to the previous one. But here what I have done is I have made this one automatic instead of like having those buttons. You can also slide and you can also navigate to a specific report, but I didn't feel like adding those buttons. Now if you want, you can add them. So here we're gonna have first a swiper class, which would have the pagination, those dots that you see. And then we'd have a call 12, which is basically taking the entire row. And we're going to call it swiper wrapper. Now this swiper wrapper wraps all the different slides. So here we're going to have our each swiper slide. So the first swiper slide that we would have, let's see the design. So here we have two sections. So this one we can again use row, and here we can add call MD6. Basically we want this to be divided into two sections. Now if I just shrink it, you see that for devices less than the medium size, which is around I think 768 probably. So for all the devices with less than that specific size, you see that they're kind of stacking. So this one is on top, and then you have the image in the bottom. So this is why we'd have this one. And then inside of that, we have the icon, this quotation that you see. I'd add that. And then we have a paragraph of text, and then Chief Operating Officer, and then the anchor tag for this. And then here in the second 6-column div, I'd add the image. And then I just paste that same slide 2 more times. Since as of now we don't have much content, so I've just repeated the same slide twice. All right. Hopefully you can add your own if you want. So yeah. So we have this ready. Now let's look at the one that we just built. So this is how it looks. Now this isn't working since we need to add the JavaScript here. So for the JavaScript, you can add this new swiper, and then I'm creating a variable with the name of client swiper, which is a new swiper type of slider. And then wherein we're targeting the element which needs to be of this swiper slide, so which is client swiper. And then here, now you can specify how many slides you need. So we need 1 slide per view, so we have slides per view as 1. And then the pagination, we just add the element which is the swiper pagination that is inside of client swiper. And then if you want, you can add dynamic bullets. If you don't, it's fine. Let's save. And we have this, and we can slide it. Now when you add CSS, you would see that the content from the previous slide is kind of overflowing into the next slide. You need to add CSS, and we need to make it look good. So we're going to just move on to the CSS for the slider. We target the swiper, give it width of 100%, margin top 5 rem, and then swiper wrapper, no padding. And then the swiper slide would have a max width of 100%, basically the size of the container. In this case, we have column 12. And then now the reason for adding here directly the swiper class instead of client swiper, because these CSS classes would be also useful for the next slide that we're gonna be building, which is this. So also for the report slider as well. So these would be helpful. So I thought it would be better if we just target the general class, which is swiper. And then now we're gonna target the specific swiper, client swiper, which has this call 6 inside of the swiper slide, and we're gonna give them a margin block and also position relative. And then we're gonna target the image. We're gonna give it width of 95%, object fit of contain. Let's save and let's see. Now the reason for giving it so this position of relative is because the quotation would be placed absolutely. Now we're gonna target the paragraph. We're gonna give it font size, line height, and also a width of 50 characters, but we'd also need to keep in mind that it should not exceed the max width of 90%, and then also margin top of 5 rem. Now we're going to target the icon. We're going to give it font size, and we're going to set it position absolute with top and left value and also a z index of -1 so that it is underneath the content that we have. And we're going to give it a color of this. Let's save. Okay, looks good. Now we need to work on these paginations. So for the client swiper span, so I think these two, first let's add styles to those. We're going to add display block, margin block as well. And then we're going to target the anchor tag, font weight, and also a color of this violet or purple. Let's save. So we have this ready. Now we're going to target the pagination. We're going to give it display flex, width of 5 rem and a gap. And we want everything to be at the center. So we're going to add justify content and align items as center. Now we also need to have a width. So here width needs to be 20 rem, and we're going to add this important because by default the swiper itself has some styling. So we'd add this important just so to overwrite our style. And after that, we're gonna target the bullet, the dynamic bullet that we create, and we're gonna scale them to 1. Because if not, wait a second, why isn't it visible? Okay, so we need to add height and width to the swiper pagination. So we're gonna give it height and width, and also we're gonna add a border radius of 50% since we want it to be a circle. Now these two as well, we need to add important so that we overwrite our styles. And we're going to give it a background of this color. Let's save. And why isn't it working? Okay, so we have the swiper slide somewhere here. Okay. Okay. What else did I miss? Okay. Yeah. So there wasn't much. Just had to refresh probably. So we have these paginations, and yeah, you can use them. All right. So we're done with the slider. Now let's work on the features. So for the features, we have a column 6 here, column 6 here, and then we have 4 cards, which on hover you can see this the school box shadow, and then here we have the section heading, which we used in the previous video, and then we have span, and then we have this image. Okay, now for the features, we're gonna have a container which basically holds everything, and then inside of that we're gonna have a row with call MD6, and in the first call 6, which is this one, we'd have the feature card. Now here we have an icon and then some content. So we're gonna have feature card icon with the icon, and then the feature card content when we have the p tag for the heading of the card, and then we have the span. Now I'm gonna paste it for the other 2 as well, other 3 as well. So let's save, and okay, we have it here. Now these icons are remix icons. Hopefully if you have watched our previous video, you know what we are doing, and if this is the video or this is the first video that you're seeing, please check out the other two, or else you might not understand everything that we are doing. So I'll add those two in the description. And yeah, so for the next column 6, we have the section heading with the span and the image. Let's save. Okay, now let's style this as well. So we're going to target the features. We're going to give it padding of 6 rem, top and bottom, and left and right 0, which is the general padding that we have been giving. So we also added that for the for this client section as well, and also for the services, yeah, and also for the about section. Come down, yeah. Now we're going to target the feature span. We give it font size of 1.2 rem with display block, or else we won't be able to give it a margin top and bottom of 1 rem. So we need this to be a display block. Let's save. Now line height needs to be 1.5. You see the gapping now. And the color needs to be this. Now we're going to target the feature card. We're going to add display flex with justify content center, align items to center with a border and a border radius. Now, since I want all the cards to have same height, so we'd specify a height instead of padding. And then gap of 2 rem and a transition of 0.3 seconds is, since on hover, we're going to kind of need to add those box shadows. And then we're going to have the cursor to pointer. Now the icon needs to be in circular shape, at least the holder. So we need to have a height and width same, and then we're going to need to add the border radius of 50%. With display grid and place content to center, this would place the icon at the center of the circle div. And then we're going to increase the font size. Now we're going to target the card content. We're going to give it width, text align of left, and this paragraph of the card content, which is basically the heading, we're going to increase the font size, font weight, and then let's save. Okay, now the column 6, which is inside of the features, we need to add display flex direction to column, since we want some gapping here as well. So we're going to write gap of 1 rem, text align to center. Let's save. You see now the text is at the center. If you see the image, this section, the text is not at the center, but I thought if this one is at the center, this would look better. So I've added this at the center along with this and the image as well. Okay, that is done. Now, if you see the finished one, you would see for each specific card, we have different color for the icon background and also for the icon. So we're going to target the feature card. We're going to give end child of 1, which basically we're targeting the first feature card. And then we're going to targeting the card icon. And then we're specifying the background color as well as the color of the icon. And I'm going to paste it 3 more times. Now we have it for all the 4 icons and along with their background. That is done. Now let's target over to the card hover. So this one needs to have a box shadow of this 0.5, 0.5. This is the horizontal, this is vertical, and this is the spread, and this is the color. So let's save. Now on hover, you'd see the box shadow. Now we're going to target the feature image. This needs to be of max width of 90% and should have a box shadow and a margin auto, since we want it at the center. Let's save. Now this section heading needs to have margin top of 2 rem, because on smaller screens we want this to have some spacing from top. And we're going to target the reports. Now we haven't added the HTML for the reports. Let's add the HTML for that. We're going to have a container. We're going to have a p tag for the reports, kind of like a subheading. And then we're going to have our section heading. And then we're going to have our row, which would have the swiper. Now this one is going to be called as reports swiper, and we're going to have a call 12. which would have the entire width of the row, and we're going to write it as swiper wrapper with 3 slides, with 3 swiper slides. Now each swiper slide would have a report card, wherein we're going to have the image, which is basically the icon, and then the span with the text, and then anchor tag with learn more. I'm going to paste it for the other 3. Let's save. Okay. Now I'm going to be pasting it 3 more times. Let's save. And here, let's add the JavaScript for this. So we're going to target the report swiper. We're going to give it slides per view needs to be 3. Let's save. Okay. We have 3 slides. Space between, we need 30, which is basically the space between each slide. We have 3 slides here, and the space or the gapping between each would be now 30. And then autoplay, which is the automatic animation that you see, we're going to set its delay by 5 seconds, which is 5,000. And now we're going to set breakpoints. Now before getting into the breakpoints, let's add the CSS first so that we can see what is actually the style for that. Now for the reports as well, we want a padding from top and bottom of 6 rem, left and right 0. The background needs to be linear gradient. If you see the finished one, we have kind of like a white left, and then some orangish color on the right. Left is white, right is orangish. So I'm going to write to right, white, and then this color. Now this color needs to start from 30%, so I'm going to specify here 30%. Now the position needs to be relative, since we need this design, which is kind of like this rectangular shape. We'd also need that, so we're going to add an after. We're going to set the content to an empty string with position absolute, height 50%, width 50%, background of this orange color, right 0, and top 10%. Let's save. We have this. Now this border radius needs to be 1 rem. Let's save. Now we're going to target the paragraph inside of reports. We're going to shrink the size. Let's save. Okay, which is this one. Now we're going to target the swiper slide. We're going to give it background as transparent. Then we're going to target the report card, width of 90%, overflow hidden, with height of 20 rem, since each slide needs to have fixed height. And then this border radius and also background. Now padding needs to be 1.5 rem with display flex text into column, and a gap of 0.5 rem. Now this also needs to have a box shadow. If you see here, we have this orange box shadow. And then the margin bottom needs to be 2 rem. Let's save. Let's see. Okay. Now we're going to target the span. We're going to give it font size to 1.4 rem with width as 30 characters, but also we need to add max width of 90%, and we'd have this line height of 1.6. Let's save. Now since this is not visible because we have the image so big, we need to shrink the size of the image. We'd have width of 10 rem. Let's save. So the image is now 10 rem. It is placed perfectly. Now we're going to target the anchor tag. We're going to give it font size and also font weight. Margin top of 1 rem. Let's save. Okay. Okay, so this is animating automatically, and also you can slide it with the mouse. Okay. Now the last thing that is left. Okay, so we also need to have this breakpoint. So if you see for the smaller screens, this is still, we have 3 slides per view, okay, which doesn't look responsive, and we are unable to read the entire text. So we need to add certain breakpoints. Basically, for different screen widths, what number of slides do you want to showcase? So for 320 pixels, we'd have slides per view as 1. For 480 as well, we need 1. For 992, we'd have slides per view as 2. And then for 1200 or more than this, we'd have a slide per view of 3. Let's save. Let's shrink the size. So here we have 1, and then a bit bigger. So we have here 2. Okay. So this is done. Now, I think the only section now that is left is our footer. So we're going to target the footer. We're going to give it container. Now we're going to have a footer card, which is this. So we're going to have card content. We're going to have a section heading, and then a span, and also the yellow button element that we just created in our first video. We're going to add that. And then we're going to have a row which would have call MD3, call MD6, call MD3 and just call 6, which basically is for the medium screens, we'd have 3 columns, but then for any screen that is less than that, we'd have 6 column width. So I'd have 4 such divs. So in the first one, we'd have the logo, we'd have span, and we'd have an yellow BTN. And then for the second one, we'd have a heading of platform. And then for the third one, we'd have solution, then company, and we'd have all these anchor tags. So I'll just quickly paste those in. Let's save. Okay. And then right after that, we'd also have a copyright div, which would have a container, which would hold the span copyright 2024. And then the social icons, I'll just paste those in. Let's save. So HTML for the footer is ready. Let's style those. For the footer, we're going to have padding top of 20 rem with position relative. Since this black that you see, this black background, we're going to add this in an after or before pseudo selector. We're going to set the color to white. Now the anchor tag that you see is black, but in the component we have it as white. So I need to change the color and also font weight. Now we're going to target the footer after pseudo selector. We're going to give it content of empty string with position absolute with width and height, and also bottom and left value, and this black background. Let's save. Okay. Now the Z index needs to be at the, so this should be underneath all the different content. So we're going to add Z index of -1. Then we're going to have this footer card. We're going to target that. We're going to give it width and height, and also border radius of 1 rem, margin auto, since we want it at the center from left and right. So top and bottom we don't need, left and right we need. So we set that as auto. And text align to center, and the background of this. So I'll just add the image. Background size needs to be cover with background position as center. Okay. Now we're gonna add display grid with place content to center, so that the footer content is at the center, the footer card content, and then the margin bottom 6 rem. Now we're gonna target the footer card content. We're gonna give it display flex direction to column with justify content, align items to center, and then gap of 2 rem. Now we're going to target the span. We're going to give it width of 50 characters, but max width of 80%. And then the logo as well, we're going to give it width of 12 rem, and we're going to just scale it a bit, 1.1. And then object fit to contain. Let's save. Now we're going to target all the call MD3 that we have. We're going to give it display flex direction to column, and align items to flex start. Let's save. And then the gap needs to be 0.5 rem. Line height of 1.6 and a margin bottom of 2 rem. Let's save. Now the span inside of the call MD3 and also the anchor tag, which are these needs to be a bit grayish. So I'll just add the font size. So this also needs to be a bit smaller in size, and the color needs to be a bit grayish. So I'd add 0.6 opacity to this white color. Let's save. Okay. Now we're going to target the copyright. We're going to give it border top of 1 pixel, needs to have a padding of 2 rem from top and bottom, and the container needs to have a display flex with justify content as space between and align items to center, since we want the copyright here and then these icons over here. And then we'll have this color. Let's save. Let's increase the size of the anchor tags. Now, since for the smaller screens, we need to target the feature span. If you see the feature span div, this one, so these are too small, so we need to increase the font size of the span. And then the feature card as well. For very small screens, this height needs to increase, so I'll just add the height to 14 rem. Now it looks better. And then for the section, we'd have this footer row here, and also this copyright container to have a padding inline of 2 rem. In the previous video, I added this padding inline as 3 rem for the section and also for the nav bar, but I realized that this was too much, so I've just added a bit of correction. So this needs to be 2 rem instead of 3. If you want to change, you can change it, or if you just download the source code of this, which will be in the description, you'd get everything already done. Now let's save. And so yeah, everything is done. The site is fully responsive. Now it's time to add the animations. Okay, so to add animation, we won't be using GSAP, but we'll use something known as Wow.js and Animate CSS. So to get those, you can come over here and you can type Wow.js. Now this Wow.js is basically on-scroll animation. So when you scroll to a certain element, you can add animations to those. Now those animations will add from the Animate library. So here you can select any one. So let's read the documentation first. So first you need to add the Animate CSS and also the Wow.js, which we can get from CDN.js. You can search Wow.js CDN.js. And here I'm going to search Animate CSS CDN.js. Come here, copy the min for the animate, and copy the min for the wow, and you can paste it here. Here you can add the wow, and here you can add the animate. Now how do we add animation? So to add animation, if you see here, first we need to initialize the wow. So here in the script, I'll just add new wow.init. Then you can add this wow class along with the animation that you want to add. So this bounce in up is coming from the Animate CSS. So let's go to Animate CSS and let's see how to add the animations. Because if you just add this bounce in up, this wouldn't work because the Animate CSS is a bit different. So yeah, to add animations using Animate CSS, you need to add a couple other styles as well. So you need to add this class of animate __ animated, and then you have animate __ this bounce. Okay, and here you can check the different animations. So if you want bounce, flash, pulse, rubber band, shake X, shake Y, head shake, swing, this tada, wobble, jello, heartbeat, all these different you can try out. You can add those if you want. So here the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add wow, add animate animated, fade in up. Let's save, and let's go to this one. Let's load. You see, so if I were somewhere here, let's say, and if I reload, now when I scroll to the first or the heading section or the cover section, now this would animate. if you do not have this wow, this wouldn't really animate when you reach that certain area wherein you have the element. Kind of like the intersection observer that you had. So instead of going through all the trouble, you can just use animate, and this would animate when you reach a certain section. You can see. Now let's add this same in different areas. So for the acquisition also, we need the fade in up. Let's save. Now if you want to add delay, you can come here and you can see that to add delay and all those stuff, where was it? You can add this animate delay -2s, which is for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. And if you want to increase the size of the delay, you can come here in the root and you can change the CSS variable. Okay, now if you wanted to animate faster, you can add this one. If you wanted to animate slower, you can add slower, or if you want to repeat, you can add this. So I won't be going too deep into that. You can add that and you can play with that. Now that is done, let's add fading up to the intro detail of the text, and then we'd add fade in to the join 3,500 leading firms starting new courses. We'd add that, and in the courses as well. And then we're gonna add here fading up here as well. Let's save. See? Now in the services, add that in the solutions. In this heading as well. Span. In the card service, let's save. Now you would see that for the card service, the first two I've added as fade in left, and for the last two I've added as fade in right. So the first two would come in from the left, and the second two would come from the right. If I scroll down a bit, you see they come in from left and right. See? All right, let's paste it a few more times for this innovating leaders section. And then also for the awards. Let's save the swiper slides as well. Okay. Then for the feature cards, along with the image, let's save. And then for the report cards, and now for the footer, we can just add it in the row, fading up, and then the first two from fade in left, and then the second two from fade in right for the footer. And let's see. These two from left, these two from right. All right, so yeah, this is it, guys. So we have finally completed the entire website. This is fully responsive and this is totally free. I'll add this in the description. You guys can download the source code and you can use it maybe for professional if you want, or maybe if you want to showcase this as a project, you can do it. But I'm at least hoping that you try to build this step by step by watching the video instead of just downloading the source code and then just adding it as a kind of like a project, because or else you wouldn't actually be learning, you'd just be copy and pasting stuff. So I think it is always better to code along, and because that is how you would learn. So yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you learned something from this video. So this series has come to an end. In the next video, I'll probably start with another design. So yeah, if you have any queries, if you have any questions, please leave them in the description. And yeah, again, these videos take too long to be made. As you can see, this is over now around 35 minutes. And so yeah, I'm hoping that you guys will share this video, and also make sure to comment down what you liked about this video so that YouTube promotes my video to new viewers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. And again, thanks for the 1500 subscribers. Now, the next milestone is to reach 2000 subscribers. So hopefully we'll be able to reach that soon as well. And so yeah, again, thanks for watching the video. Meet you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Have a good day.